This week on Healthy Living, the holidays are here and experts warn to be mindful of what you eat. Internal medicine expert Dr. Ken Redcross shares some advice on how to control your sugar intake during the celebration. And we will have some safety tips to prevent fire in the kitchen while cooking. Plus, in Nigeria, smart reading glasses are helping the visually impaired. That's in this edition of Healthy Living. Hello and welcome to Healthy Living. I'm Kamiti Kibayasi. The festive season is in full swing, a time for family, parties, and lots of food. It is no surprise that many people struggle with their weight after the holidays. For others, making the right food choice during the celebrations can be difficult. Research shows that high cholesterol, cardiovascular diseases, elevated blood pressure, and increasing blood sugar levels are common after holidays worldwide. It can sometimes feel like you have no control during this time of year, but experts at the US-based Mayo Clinic say there are some things you can do. Don't skip meals before an event, as these can lead to overeating at the event due to an increased feeling of hunger. You can also bring your own dish that's healthy to add to the spread. Minimize the amount of alcohol you drink, as these can lead to poor food choices and be dehydrated. So try to stick to water, tea, and seltzer. Finally, you can politely say no to those pushy friends or family members insisting you try everything. Khadija Mohammed Mustafa is the founder D Good Fit, a fitness, health, wellness, and nutrition brand that focus on helping people build a healthy lifestyles. Let's join in her kitchen in Abuja, Nigeria.
It is very, very, very important to start to maintain a healthy lifestyle at an early stage. It takes a lot of discipline to see something that you want to eat and say to yourself, okay, I will not eat it. People with diabetes, I would advise them to eat more whole grains, which is things like bulgur wheat, brown rice, quinoa, and things like that. And also, I would advise them to stay away from processed food and eat protein like chicken, beef, fish. Just stick to the basic things and make sure that they portion control their food. Because people with diabetes, for them, it is a completely different ballgame. Eating one thing can completely kick off a whole scenario for them, or kick off something really bad. And you're allowed to indulge, you're allowed to allow yourself to enjoy a meal once or twice. But at the end of the day, you're trying to build a healthy lifestyle that will help you live longer. That's what everybody wants. Everybody wants to live longer, and you are what you eat. People don't know that. But everything that you put into your mouth counts. This meal we're making, it can work for either breakfast, lunch, or dinner. It can work for anything. So we've chopped our onions and now we are chopping our bell peppers. We are adding our pre-marinated chicken breasts to simmer, and marinated vegetables, sauteed vegetables. We're going to be using just one first. We have our eggs that we're just going to beat and make sure it's ready. Okay, once that is ready, we flip it. After this is you close your wrap. So this is the final product. This wrap is ready.
The holiday season is filled with delicious foods and sweet treats to please the palate. And often, people struggle with their sugar levels this time of the year. Dr. Ken Redcross is an internal medicine specialist and author. He shares some advice on how to address sugars during the holidays.
So I wanted everyone out there to be mindful about some signs and symptoms that your blood sugar may be elevated and you just don't know. So the things you want to think about, fatigue, increased urination, increased thirst, blurred vision. These are signs and symptoms some people ignore. When we talk about blood sugar, let's recognize that sugar isn't always the evil thing. The sugar is necessary for energy, but the body always wants everything to be in balance. When I talk about elevated blood sugar, there's a certain level you get to when you become diabetic, but on the flip side, when it's too low, you can become hypoglycemic. Luckily, it's not as common. It tends to be those who already have diabetes and are on insulin or other things that bring the sugar low, but you still need to just be mindful of that as well. You want to get out, you want to take a stroll, you want to exercise. Not only does that decrease your blood sugar, but it also kind of sensitizes your insulin to really driving that sugar in the cells where it belongs. The other thing is, you want to learn about some things that are a little bit closer to the earth that can help support your blood sugar. I always talk about berberine because not only does that help support your blood sugar, it also helps support that ugly cholesterol, LDL, that we don't want. And last but not least, when you talk about those hidden sugars, I want everyone out there to curb those artificial sweeteners. They're terrible. Not only are they bad as far as spiking up your blood sugar, believe it or not, but they also destroy your microbiome. Some of those symptoms, that fatigue, this is fatigue like no matter how much rest you get, it just isn't enough. When you talk about that frequent urination, it tends to be a lot at nighttime. And with that frequent urination, you're also thirsty and it's insatiable. And blurred vision is something that some people blow off to an eyeglass prescription change, or I need to change my glasses. So as you think of these things, they're a little tough because they're non-specific in a sense, but you have to make sure that you have that bond with your doctor so you can pick up the phone and say, what do you think about this, doc? Should I come in and get a blood test? And when you do, we can check what's called an A1C. That lets us know what your blood sugar is over a 3-month interval, everyone. Or we'll just do a random blood sugar. And that, once again, will depend how high it is. If it's over 126, that particular level, then that's the level that lets us know that we're probably dealing with diabetes or some glucose intolerance. So there's two types. There's type 1 and type 2. Type 1, everyone tends to be figured out early in childhood. That's more of an autoimmune issue. The one type 2 is 90% of diabetics, and that's really diet and exercise. The main takeaway is to be aware. I don't want you to feel guilty. There's a lot of guilt when it comes to sugar. I always say it's not your fault and it's not your fate. If you have any of those signs and symptoms that I mentioned, get in right away. If not, I tell everyone you should get it checked every 6 months. If you had diabetes, everyone, it's every 3 months. But if you don't, if those signs and symptoms, you go immediately. If not, every 6 months is what you should do to make sure that we keep you out of harm's way.
For many people, turkey is a meat of choice to celebrate the holidays. There is a common idea that eating turkey makes you tired or sleepy. Turkey contains tryptophan, also found in chicken, which is widely believed to be responsible for feeling tired or sleepy. But is it true or false? Greg Henderson, assistant professor in the Department of Nutrition Science at Purdue University, explains.
The nutrition science community doesn't think that tryptophan is the reason why we feel sleepy after a meal, because so many metabolic and hormonal responses are happening that there isn't any strong reason in the literature even to believe that tryptophan is the driver of that sleepiness after a meal. Tryptophan is used to synthesize a neurotransmitter called serotonin, and that promotes sleep. But for this whole notion of turkey causing sleepiness to make any sense, turkey would have to have a lot more tryptophan than other foods that you would consume in its place if you didn't choose it, and it doesn't. Turkey has about the same amount of tryptophan as chicken and about the same amount as pork. It's a stretch to assume that tryptophan is the primary reason why we feel sleepy after a meal, especially in the setting of just consuming a big meal, and potentially for people who do consume alcohol, that can't be ignored because that could also cause some sleepiness later on. One thing that we can do to fight that fatigue or that tendency toward wanting to rest after a meal is to do something to increase the activity of our sympathetic nervous system. And ways that we can activate our sympathetic nervous system are to get some physical activity, like to take a walk, Another would be cold exposure. That increases activity of the sympathetic nervous system. So taking a walk outdoors if it's cold out would be a double whammy for increasing sympathetic nervous system activity. Another thing we can do is social interactions that excite us, like playing a fun game with family members or discussing a topic that really engages us.
The holiday season, a time for family, fun and food. The kitchen can get busy this time of year as people cook their favorite dishes to share. However, the kitchen can be a hazardous place if proper precautions are not taken. According to the United States Consumers Product Safety Commission, cooking fires remain the #1 cause of residential fires. An average 1,600 cooking fires occur during the holiday season. That's more than 3 times the average number daily cooking fires throughout the year. Experts at Johns Hopkins Medicine have the following cooking safety tips to decrease the risk of kitchen fires and cooking-related injuries, among other things. Keep flammable items away from the stovetop, including oven mitts, pot holders, food packaging, and dish towel. Avoid wearing loose clothing, which could catch fire on burners. In the case a small fire breaks out, follow these safety guidelines. Do not pour water on it. Water can cause oil to splash, which can not only hurt you, but also spread the fire. Slide a lid over the pan to smooth the fire and turn off the stovetop. Leave the pan covered until it has completely cooled. Alternatively, baking soda can also be used to extinguish small grease fires. If there is an oven fire, turn off the heat and keep the oven door closed. For larger fires with extensive smoke and heat that are rapidly spreading, get out. Leave the kitchen and close the door behind you to contain the flames. Once you are safe, call a local emergency number. A Nigerian startup is using technology to assist the visually impaired with several products, including smart reading glasses that convert text to audio. David Doll has more.
Mishak Odion is on his way to an ICT class in his school library. But today, the technology on show is an app that can help him read. Blind since birth, the 17-year-old attends a school for visually impaired children in Nigeria's megacity, Lagos. The aspiring musician has worried about what the world would hold for him with Braille as his only means of reading.
I would prefer this app because there are many things that I will see outside there, and maybe it will not be in Braille, it may be in sighted, so this app will help me to recognize it.
Odion's renewed hope is thanks to a Nigerian startup called Vinsight. Its team has developed several products, including a mobile app that translates text to audio. That software, CEO Kolawole Tomi explains, is now being remodeled into a hardware eyeglass.
The hardware glasses, is pretty much leveraging the same technology as the software, but at an optimized level. And what this glasses pretty much does is that it helps those who are visually impaired to be able to read, one, identify objects, scenes, and colors around them, also identify currency, and also over time, the glass is going to be able to help improve visual acuity.
A little over 15% of the world's blind population resides in Africa, according to the World Health Organization. Vinsight says its products are used in schools and institutions and estimates it has reached about 5,000 people.
That's our show for today. For more health news, wellness tips, and medical breakthroughs, stay connected to Voice of America at voaafrica.com. You can follow me on Twitter at MkamitiVOA. Until next time, stay well and strive to make every day a healthy day.